In 2021, a lot of these companies had started the process. A lot of them were actually deep into it and had invested already. We saw actually fashion and lifestyle brands being early adopters in this space. Why was this process slowed down? Well, because without making names, Web3 in 2022 stepped a little bit over its toes. I was not the earliest to the crypto space. I came in 2018 with my first forages in the space and some small investments. And I'll be frank with you, I was enthused and fascinated by it from the get-go. I was a part of the co-founding team in Zalora, one of the leading e-commerce players here in Southeast Asia. And at the end of 2021, early 2022, I saw myself in a position of being able to go on to my next thing. And I believed in crypto as a technology. I believed in blockchain as a technology. It was clear to me that that would be the next thing, no matter where the market was. And Web3 is not a different thing. It is the utilization of a novel technology and application in trying to solve problems that are useful for the world, for humanity, for consumers. And ultimately, that's what Web2 and tech has been trying to do for years. And where do they differ is the stage they're at. Web3 is vibrant, it's green, and I mean this positively. It's got so much momentum behind it. What we call Web2 and what the industry calls Web2 has maybe reached not a point of saturation by no means, but they have reached a moment of stability more than forward motion, which of course every organization has to, but it is very motivating and it creates a lot of intrinsic energy to be in the so-called Web3. What can Web3 learn from Web2? Well, it's scalability. There is a point where you need to professionalize and scale. And all founders need to accept that. The topic, for example, of doxing versus undox. I can respect the choice of staying undoxed at the early stages of a project, particularly when some of those projects challenge some of the status quo. But ultimately, if you want to get to mass adoption and be seen as a legitimate industry that also corporate clients will adopt, you have to dox. The concept shouldn't even exist once you go into scalability. So some of these things are what the industry has to overcome. Portraying Web3 as those tight-knit, Discord-driven, Twitter-driven communities that really passionately advocated for certain products helped us go from 0 to 1. This said, the exclusivity of those communities in going from 1 to 10 might actually be somewhat of a potential risk in making the entrance daunting to new entrants from Web2. So one has to find a way to reconcile those two groups of stakeholders. With this, I don't mean those communities are not valuable. Those communities are super valuable to companies such as ours. But Web3 companies have to find a way of appealing to the general public. You need to start thinking as if your market is the same. It is true that there is some resistance from traditional gamers to what is called Web3 gaming. Most of the benefits of Web3 in gaming, or blockchain in gaming, are back-end benefits. The front-end benefits can be optional as add-ons to the experience of the gamers, like being able to trade a character outside of their game ecosystem or on a peer-to-peer market. There's no need to try and rebrand an entire industry from a technology standpoint to adopt a new technology. A true Web3 powered game will not even market itself as a Web3 game. It will market itself as a game. The Web3 benefits of it will become apparent to the users as they use it. And at that point, they'll become mainstream. And if those games are good, and if those benefits are tangible, there won't be resistance. The resistance now is driven by two things. The fact that the games that were created were not great from a fun perspective, and the fact that the exclusivity, again, of high price point NFTs or tokens or entry points has created basically a financial barrier to the game, or have created the so-called play-to-earn ecosystem where the community of the game is not a community that looks for fun, it looks for yield. Now, a traditional gamer wants to be in a community and talk to a community that looks for fun. It's as if you put a fish out of water. So let's create games, and then the Web3 benefits within them will become apparent to anybody who plays them. Web3's technology has value. The technology is industry. The technology allows real scalability of certain problems. Let's be honest, it shouldn't be applied to anything just for the sake of applying it, which is a little bit of maybe what we've seen here and there. But it has true value when applied to the right problems. It has true value in finance. It has true value in scalability of complex contract management. It has true value in powering of back-end gaming. It has true value in the aggregation of crowdsourced information. Now, this said, let's be also pragmatic. In the corporate side of things, we have lost a year or two. In 2021 and early 2022, a lot of money was raised. I refuse to believe that that money will not yield results. Building takes time. Great products, tech products take time. We will see the real great games starting to come out in Q2, Q3 and Q4 of 2023 that are Web3 backend powered. Generally an overall professionalization of the industry. So I think we are at a turning point and people don't realize it because the news is all taken by the guys that built too fast, while the guys that are building steadily are not maybe making the headlines, but the guys that are building steadily will soon go live.